Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Phoenix, Arizona, it's time for Phoenix Business Radio, spotlighting the city's best businesses and the people who lead them.
Hello and welcome to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting live from the Max 6 Entrepreneur Center right here in Tempe, Arizona, where we help build businesses and connect you with the right people. I'm Karen Nowicki, and I am ecstatic about today's conversation and the guests who I'm having an opportunity to meet for the first time in person. And we are going to have a conversation about women in business, obviously leadership, and all the things that are important to business owners and executive leaders, not only here in Arizona, but worldwide. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Action Ignite Sales President, Debe Black. Welcome to the studio, Debe.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
I'm embarrassed, and I was going to ask you before I came on air, and I forgot. Who introduced us? I should know this because it's only been since maybe October, November. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Oh, no, I should have asked it off air. Okay, we'll come back to that because I always like to give a shout out, but if both of us fail miserably, it's not going to look good. Anyway, so we connected on LinkedIn. I know that Daryl, our producer, is going to find it for us. And then as we do with all of our guests, I typically say, love who you are. You resonate with us. Let's have you come do a segment. And we always like to extend the opportunity for our guests to bring people that you are either doing business with, collaborating with, power partners, or folks that you want to get to know better. So you did just that. You took us up on that offer. And I'm ecstatic because we've had many guests on before from both of these organizations over the 4 years we've had the studio open. So I'm going to introduce Amber and Rosaria, and then Debe. All three of you can kind of tell us how each of you connected. Oh, it was Austin.
Yes, it was Austin.
See, I was going to ask.
Daryl just handed me a note that said Austin, of course. Okay, shout out to Tycoons of Small Biz, Austin Peterson and Landon Mance. They have their weekly show with us, Tycoons of Small Biz. They're both financial advisors. And Debe had talked to them and they said, hey, you got to meet Karen. And we quickly became fast pals, so much so that we're now sharing the same hairstylist. Anyway.
The most important thing that's happened to me since I got to Phoenix.
That's right. And the conversation, that's all we needed to say today. Forget these other
Tales
two.
of the Crypt.
Right. Exactly. So listen, I really am anxious to have you get to know Rosaria Cain. She's the president of NABO and CEO of Knoodle. Welcome, Rosaria.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We are excited. And as I mentioned, right, we've had several NABO folks on before in the past 4 years, and I've had an opportunity to present a couple of times at your organization, and I love the work that you do. So for our listeners who don't know you guys, we'll get to introduce you today. And then with us as well is Amber Cordoba, and she is the Director of Business Education Consulting Services for Prestamos CDFI, which is a division of Chicano Por La Casa. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
We didn't let you get a word in edgewise yet.
It's okay.
She's sitting back. She's like, I'm waiting. I'm biding my time. Excellent. So thank you for being here. I have no doubt that this is going to be a rich conversation. Debe, tell us why it is that you decided that these two gals would be the right people for this segment today.
Well, anyway, how far back do you want to go?
However far back you'd like to go.
Skip the drinks part, though. Can we just skip
I
the
don't know.
drinks part?
Sometimes that makes right. That's usually when the magic happens.
That's the after party. Tune in for the after party, everybody.
The happy hour. The
happy
NABO
hour.
happy
The
hour.
NABO happy hour. Well, I'm going to take it back even further. So about 4 years ago, I went out on a date with this guy.
We're really going far back.
We're going way back.
Time
right?
machine.
Time machine. I go out, and he was really cute. And he's telling me that he has a plan. He's going to be retiring from the union. He's a union carpenter in New York City, where we both are from. And he said to me, I have a plan. I'm retiring from the union in a couple of years. And when I do, I'm moving to Phoenix. And I have a home there already. And, just FYI. So I said, okay, nice to know. And honestly, I haven't met that many people who have an actual plan before. It was really kind of a turn on. You know what I mean?
And he was cute.
And he was cute. And he had great guns. I mean, fast forward 3.5 years later, here I am. And I had to figure out what I was going to do with myself once I got here. I have sold and run sales teams for over 30 years in corporate America, working for small companies. And when I was thinking about what to do here and I started, interviewing, I did all the things that everybody does. You look at your Rolodex. For those of you who know what that is, if you don't call me, I'll tell you.
Right.
And I was like, hey, who do we know in Phoenix? I started making the rounds. But I realized that I didn't really want to go and work for somebody else. I just couldn't. I did my time in corporate America. And right about the time, an organization called Sales Xceleration showed up in my inbox and said, "Hey, we think that you might be a really good candidate to do this, fractional VP of sales." And I was like, "All right, what's that?" I really didn't know what one was until I became one, right? It's a way of getting sales leadership into your company without having to hire somebody full time. You know, not every company even knows what that looks like for them. And I thought this is really great because it's really pretty much what I've always done. I go into a company, I help them build their sales infrastructure, I help them figure out if they've got the right people in the right seats, right? I know that's an EOS thing, but it was for sales a long time ago too. Really, help them put their processes in place and grow their sales team. So I was like, this is a perfect fit. But what do you do when you come to a new town and nobody knows you? I started making friends. I started looking at all the different, organizations, alliances, which meets right here in this building in the very next room. Met some really fantastic people there. Somebody who I met there actually turned me on to Nabo. And, on and on. Actually, Amber, and you'll talk to Amber in a minute, I saw that they had an opening for people to help them with their business development. And it was like, I don't know, it was an hourly job or whatever. And I sent her a note and I said, "Listen, you really can't afford me and I don't really want to work for you full time, but I'd love to meet with you and tell you what I'd like to do to help you."
Oh,
Because I was just so into that organization. I
Yeah.
just really think what they do. I want to be part of the community. I committed to that when I got here.
Yep.
I wanted to demonstrate to people that I wasn't just, a carpetbagger, but that I'm here to like lay down some roots and really help the community grow and hopefully grow my own business along the way. But, really the first thing you have to do is make friends and show that you have some value, right?
yeah.
So I came across Rosaria and I came across Amber through this journey. And I was just so impressed by how friendly this business climate is, how willing to help everybody is. And these two organizations really represent opportunity for women business owners and for small business owners,
Mhm.
or I should say small to medium sized business owners. So I want to stop talking about me because, what these two guys do really is so much more important and impressive than what I do. I mean,
Yeah, I appreciate the backstory
Yeah.
though, because it really does. It's a perfect example, at least what I've seen in the 4 years that I've owned Business Radio X here in Phoenix area. We are a friendly group of business owners. One of our longest time podcasters who hosts this show with us, Joe Puz, is from the Atlanta area, originally from New York, but hailed through Atlanta with his family of I want to say 4 or 5 kids. His wife was ready for warmer climate. And he and I met through alliances. Interestingly enough, I was a member for a year when I first opened the studio. We had him on as a guest, and he loved the opportunity. We did a show concept meeting. He's been with us now for 4 years. It's changed the trajectory of his career. But one of the things that he said was, y'all do business here in Arizona slightly differently. It's the lunch. It's the happy hour. It is the let's share a hairdresser. Like we become friends, and Joe and I have become really good friends over the course of the 4 years. And it doesn't matter the industry, and maybe you two have experienced something differently, but I'm sensing not. Every industry, every vertical, small, medium to large to enterprise, to government, to higher ed, all those folks have passed through these doors in the studio, have shared their stories, and consistently, I've heard people say exactly what Debbie said. And you're the newbie. So how great that you already can see what the Wild West is all about, right? It's fantastic. So thank you for a rich introduction and the backstory as to why you chose to have these two guests. And the other thing I'll say that when you and I talked about this segment, and I wanted to make sure that I introduced you to our community, you said that true to your heart is elevating women in the business world, as well as enhancing inclusion and diversity, right? Those underserved
completely.
folks who maybe don't have the same advantages that some of us have had, and making sure that we're creating opportunities for them. We just had this incredible show yesterday, as I think about that, with ASU's new AZ Next program. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yes. So they're really working on internships, apprenticeships, and in the tech industry, cybersecurity, you name it. And it's a nationally funded grant program that ASU has locked onto. And the gentleman, Rob Belo, who's the program director, is from Honeywell. He left corporate America, kind of like Debbie's story, and now he's running this incredible program. And we have Laura Hemingway with Paradigm Solutions to thank.
Sure.
Yes, you two talked about, back to back. She was here yesterday. I forgot that you two had that connection. So anyway, so many opportunities here. This is an opportunity to shine the spotlight on the three of you. We'll come back to, of course, learning more about what you've done with your career and again, the kind of folks that you look forward to working with. But I would love to ask Rosaria to tell us a little bit about Knoodle and your role with NABO and anything else you want to share. And then, of course, we'll have Amber do the same.
Well, I have to consult my daytimer. And since we're talking
About
Rolodexes,
Rolodex.
remember the Franklin Planner?
Oh, of course.
I still
I
have
kind
one.
of
do
miss
too.
it.
I can't let
Really?
mine go.
Oh
It's
my
like in a
gosh.
gold case at home with a spotlight on it.
Mine's in the morgue. It's in the cemetery. It's buried.
I think I found one when I moved. I think I actually was like, all right, I gotta let go.
Remember, you used to go on appointments or cold calls with this giant, god awful binder.
the portfolio?
Oh,
Yes.
we had already talked about briefcases
Yes.
earlier.
Yeah, no wonder we had arthritis in our hands.
And by the way, for our listeners who aren't watching this via video, we're all of us, I'm winking at Amber, we're all under 30, right?
Yes. Yes.
And we're all extremely attractive.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. This is the supermodel show right here.
This is
Yeah.
right. Well, getting back to your question, Knoodle looks for clients of all sizes. We love it. We're a marketing shop. We do PR and content. We do creative. We do digital. We do media. We have an integrated approach, and we just love what we do. But like Debbie, it doesn't work well when you get out there and you don't know anybody. So you seek ways to make connections. And that's how I found National Association of Women Business Owners and got on the board, eventually became president because no one else wanted it at that time.
It's such a heavy lift.
Let's be honest here. I was not elected exactly. I was the only one. But I will tell you, it's our role to really bring diversity into NABO, playing on what Debbie said. But small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, different categories, as well as ethnicities and all shapes and sizes, young, old. So diversity means many things for NABO. And so that's my goal with NABO this year was to really get done with the old NABO and bring in a new, more vital, energetic, never boring, never ladies that lunch NABO. And so that's my mission. And I've broken a few eggs, I'll be honest with you. I've made some friends, like Debbie, 2 or 3. I've made new NABO friends. Old NABO, sometimes people don't want sometimes people are very comfortable with what's always been. So for those who know NABO from years ago, it's time to come back. It's more exciting than ever. And the programs we don't do them every month, but they're all exciting. And when we're not doing programs, we're doing really fun happy hours where there's no agenda, there's no program, there's no education. There's just good old-fashioned fun,
Getting to know each other.
collaboration, and comparing notes. And sometimes this does result in connections like Amber and who to do business with and how to learn and where to go for business services.
I love that. Thank you for being so candid.
Well, people that know me
Yeah.
know
Know
that
that it's going to
some
happen.
people call it candid,
What do other people call it?
outright bitchiness.
No.
Well, listen, it depends on the lens, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, when you're a leader, what do they say? That, you know that you're doing the thing that you've been born to do when not everybody likes you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Amen.
definitely good at it.
Yeah. You got to embrace that. So thank you for the great introduction. And I look forward to learning more about Knoodle. We will need to talk.
Love it.
Yes. Amber,
Hello.
your turn, lady.
She's
Tell
sweet.
us, I know, and younger than the rest of us in the room.
Well, before we move on, I think everybody's hanging at the edge of their seat. Are you still with the hot union guy?
Oh my God. Yes, I am. And we adopted a dog, so it's permanent.
Okay. I've met the dog child.
Yeah, you have. You have met my little
You
dog
haven't met
child.
Guns yet, though?
Yeah. Oh, no. I know of him, though.
Yes.
I know of him. She doesn't bring him anywhere, but she brings the dog child.
Well, the dog is much more well-behaved than he is.
All right, Amber. Well done. Welcome to landing in the studio. Tell us about you, your background, how long you've been with Chicano por los Causa, and then the role that you serve.
Sure. I have been with CPLC for 6 years now. I am under our division Prestamos. We're a CDFI. I oversee all of our technical assistance and business support programming. And my goal, like we've talked about today, is to increase accessibility to diverse groups. So women to minority entrepreneurs, really help them understand business fundamentals, but also how to grow, scale their business. So really, that's what we focus on. We have the brand new Women's Business Center that just launched in, November,
Awesome.
where we focus on a lot into Latina entrepreneurship, but any woman and men is welcome to come and use any of the services free of charge.
And what is a CDFI?
It's a community development financial institution. So we're an alternative lender when a business is looking for capital and they can't get it from a traditional source like a bank.
Uh-huh.
They come to us and, we have more relaxed underwriting guidelines, and we really work towards how do we make this loan happen as opposed to you just don't fit in our underwriting box.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, we so need more of that. Yes. How did you land at Chicano por la Causa?
I landed, oh my gosh. So I had a colleague that I was in politics with. I do campaign finance as well. And there was a business advisor position, much like, Debbie saw. And he asked me to come on to do financial literacy for small businesses. And I came in a part-time position. I was pregnant at the time. So since I joined CPLC, I have had 2 children. I was already married at the time. Done a lot of traveling, a lot of different things, and
It's
just
time to settle in.
yeah, absolutely. Came on full time a couple years ago and have just worked on really focusing on growing our department and our services. And we're now capable of serving in 5 states.
I think I recall that growth. That's happened the last 3-4 years.
Really, just since the pandemic
Oh,
hit.
it has. I
Yeah.
was thinking longer. Well, sadly,
It may be 5 years, isn't it? Been
It
5 years.
feels like a
it's
lifetime.
been. It really does. Oh.
There's COVID and before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show that we did yesterday with AZ Next and ASU and Laura Hemingway with Paradigm Solutions, they had used the term, and I'm embarrassed because you probably are all familiar with it, but the great, what do they call it?
Resignation.
Resignation.
Yep. Oh, I'm totally familiar. I live it every day.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I'm kind
And
of part of it.
Right. I hadn't heard that term before. Thank you for filling the blank for me because I couldn't recall it. But the pandemic has created many rich opportunities for a lot of different folks. And I think it's called us all individually to step back and look at, is this the life that I want to live? And am I spending enough time with the people that I love?
Oh, but it's such a pain in the ass as a business owner.
Listen, So when we opened the studio, we always prided ourselves on this very experience. You come to the studio, you're here local within Arizona, greater Phoenix area typically. And it was an in-studio experience only when I opened the studio. And of course, pandemic hit, and my clients, some of them were like, I'm not coming out. I still want to do this. So we quickly, of course, pivoted to Zoom. And we have one, again, Joe Puz was doing international interviews for several years. So we'd already had the technology worked out. But yes, I mean, of course, we could go on and we won't make this episode about the pandemic because we've had plenty of those episodes as we've needed to. But how neat that situation gave you guys an opportunity at Chicano por la Causa to expand then beyond the Arizona walls. And again, I thought it was, older than that.
Yeah, we had been in Nevada for quite some time, but our expansion into New Mexico, Texas, and California has been just over the last 2 years. But with this huge, attrition of people out of the workforce, it's created so many opportunities for people to start businesses, and especially women.
Yes.
I mean, think about all of the women that were forced out of the workplace,
Yeah.
and now they needed something new to do.
I don't know that you would know the statistic, and I don't know the numbers, but I have heard, it might have been the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that shared it. The number of Latina-owned businesses that start up every year far surpasses any other business.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know the
Yeah, there was
stats,
some
but
Datos reporting that came out.
so impressive.
Mhm.
And then for our listeners, so you explained, of course, the division that you work for, but for our listeners who may not be familiar with Chicano por la Causa, could you explain the organization and the role that they play? Because really, y'all are everywhere
Yeah,
and
yeah.
need to be, right?
We are a 53-year-old nonprofit organization that started out of the Chicano movement, and we have multiple different pillars. So we have our economic development, where our lending and technical assistance support comes from. We do affordable housing, early childhood education, social services. We have a domestic violence shelter, all across the board of services to serve the whole entire family. So really, any family that needs something, we probably have a resource. If it's not internal, we have external partnerships and relationships where we can refer. So it's a really good starting place. And we have linguistic and cultural competency supporting Latino community as well.
It's a long time
It is.
to be serving Arizona and now, of course, several other states as well.
It's really exciting. Unfortunately, the pandemic did create an increased need, but I'm really proud of the work that we've done to step up to that challenge.
Mhm. Yeah. Great work.
It's just an incredible, like every time I talk to Amber and I find out like one more thing that the organization does, I'm like, I'm just blown away. I mean, talking about like ways to elevate a community, right? I mean, you guys are really touching every place that you possibly can to help elevate that community, including, I mean, the resources to help small businesses are astounding. I mean, really, if I have an idea that I want to start a business, I could just go straight over to Amber and say, so, I don't know, I'm thinking about opening up a tea shop. What do I do?
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And then she'd be like, okay, here you go. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's just really incredible. And if you follow the blueprint, if you really take the help that's offered and do what you're supposed to do with it, you could really be successful. You really, I mean,
Gets you
right?
off to a good start.
Yeah.
Amber, is this just for Hispanic women or Latina
No, this
women?
is for everybody.
Okay, good
Anybody
to know.
all across the board, men, women. We've even started working with youth entrepreneurs as well.
Phenomenal.
Kids are starting businesses?
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
wouldn't
gosh,
believe it.
in rapid numbers. Yeah.
I think I'm not familiar with the NFT thing, but I know that there's some rich teenagers out there,
Yes, it's
They're probably
amazing.
Bitcoin people.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
I have a 14-year-old. I have two in their 20s. They live in the area, but they're on their own now, thankfully. But my 14-year-old and I are still home together. And as he enters high school next year, I want to give him an opportunity to figure out what he wants to do. And I'm in no hurry to have him decide that. My 27-year-old has just finally figured it out, right? So I get that everybody does it at different rates. He wants to be an engineer right now. And at the same time, given that I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner, I want to make sure that we create this little side gig for him and have him develop some chops in that area, because no matter what he does, right, whether he works for a corporation or nonprofit or anything in between, it never hurts to have those experiences. So that's our goal this summer. Last summer, I sent him off to New York for the summer for an amazing summer camp. He had a great time. He and I had to do some healing after a personal experience that was quite traumatic. And then this year, you're staying home, baby, and we're gonna, create some neat experiences for you going into high school. So I'll have to tap into some of what you guys have available. I want to hear both from Debbie and Rosaria as well. What is your background? So let's start with you, Rosaria. How did you land in marketing and PR and digital? And is Knoodle are you an agency, a full-scale agency?
We're a full-service agency.
Yeah.
Digital's become a very big part of everyone's life. It would be impossible to have an agency without digital
would
right
imagine
now.
so.
It would be really odd.
Can I interject one thing here, if I may?
You may.
Not to totally interrupt,
You
but
may.
it would
Please
be a
do.
conversation if we didn't, right? I have met so many people that call themselves marketers or call themselves an ad agency, not just here, but I mean, everywhere. And they manage one aspect of, marketing, which might be a digital tactic, right? SEO, SEM.
Right.
These are tactics. And I think it's really important for people to understand that what Rosaria has is a full service ad agency that employs some of those tactics if it's appropriate. And I'm sorry, I'm
Absolutely.
like jumping
Thank you.
right in here.
No,
but-
no, please go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. But this is like a frustration for me because I just feel like there's a lot of people, like a lot of young people who are starting their own businesses right out of college or even out of high school saying, well, I can help you with your marketing. You can. What can you do for me?
But I don't know about a brand. I mean, if
Right.
you want a brand, you have to go
Right.
someplace else.
Or I can't create strategy, and that's the big deal. And I'll let you finish your thing, but
no,
ad
you're doing so
agencies-
well. Keep going.
We'll keep ad agencies are about strategy and then tactics, right? So anyway,
It's what you really pay for
Yeah.
because tactics, you can always find somebody to do them.
Yeah.
You really pay for branding and strategy. Everything else is just a tactic and it comes with it. So but it's fun. And I'm sure you teach a lot of that at CPLC as well.
Yeah, we teach a lot of the tactics, and we do a little bit of strategy, but on a basic level.
No, but that's fun.
And the financial piece too, which is how you introduced yourself. That
Mhm.
is so critical,
Especially
right?
in
The financial
business.
literacy, yes, critical. Again, I'm
Mhm.
only 4 years in, but I'm doing things that I wish I had done that first year in business. I'm glad I'm doing now, but that piece is paramount. So how did you find your way to Knoodle?
I became interested in the ad business after 20 years in broadcast.
Oh,
As a salesperson, I could have worked for Debbie, but I didn't. I got and I loved corporate America, but I got so tired of working for stupid men that I couldn't take it anymore.
terrestrial radio, TV, everything.
TV, radio,
Yeah.
newspaper, magazine.
And the sales side of things.
Sales side always. But you begin to make contacts after a certain point. And I got so tired. I remember the day that I made the decision. I had a client and my management asked me to reduce the package and change 30-second spots to 15s. Or actually, it was change 15 spots to 10 because the client would never know. And I just,
boy.
I couldn't do it. I had a terrible time. It caused me great stress. I was physically sick. And I thought, I can't do this. I can't knowingly switch something that we agreed to, even though it's only 5 seconds. To me, a deal's a deal. And I've carried that through to business to this day. If we promise something and it was stupid, because we do sometimes do that, we'll fulfill it, even if we lose our ass.
I know nothing about that.
Oh, well, you're probably a little better about that than
I don't
am.
know that I am, but thank God Daryl's in my life and Jane M. Powers, who is my sales
We get
coach,
smarter,
yeah.
though. I mean, the
Yes.
thing is,
Yeah.
when you do these things, you get smarter about what not to do.
Yep.
Because really, business is like a basketball game. You have to score more than you lose.
I
So
agree.
so it's really that simple. And I'm sure that there are lots of things CPLC brings to that and Prestamos brings to that give them that context. Business does not have to be complicated. So, and then I married the guy that handles all the financial side, which
That's
was
a
a
smart
great,
way to do
which
it.
is a great shortcut because I don't like balance sheets and such. So he does though.
I love it.
So-
And how big is your team?
We are 12 people.
Wow,
Great.
fantastic.
Come on down.
Yeah, I'm
Amber,
going to.
Come on
I know.
down.
Well, and yes, we definitely need to
And
talk.
if you need any help with marketing or any mentoring help to mentor people on your side, or if Knoodle can help in any way, let me know. We did a promotion with CPLC and Fulton Homes. This is going back like maybe 16 years ago. It
Wow.
might have been like 2004 or 2005. We did it with a local Spanish language station. It was, I can't remember. It was Entravision. And it wasn't Univision, it was Entravision. And we did a teacher campaign, a CPLC Teacher of the Year.
Oh, for Esperanza?
Yes. It was with Fulton Homes. And we Mr. Fulton went there and everything. We had a great time. And then he promised everybody an additional, I can't remember, $500 a teacher. And it was quite the splash. And we did it 3 or 4 years until the recession.
Mhm.
And then we had to cut some things. And unfortunately, our client decided that was an area he had to reduce because home builders were also losing
Yes.
their butts at that time. But we had very fond feelings, my client as well,
Wonderful.
about CPLC and the Esperanza program and the organization.
Well, I'll take you up on that. I think it's important that we're continually adjusting to the new climate and we're continually increasing our skill sets. And this is a great opportunity for everybody to know that networking and making new friends is
Yes,
important to your growth personally, but also professionally and for your organizations.
Hmm.
agreed.
And I'll throw my hat in the ring to volunteer as well. Outside of owning Business Radio X, I'm a transformational coach. So I help people through shadow
Ah,
work and trauma integration.
Oh, wow.
So there's the piece around the life business blend. I won't call it a balance because I don't think that's a true
No, I don't
thing.
think it exists.
But how do we navigate our internal world as a business owner? Because as you know, I'm sure you all know, being an entrepreneur and owning your own business is a front seat to having to figure yourself out.
then
yeah.
then add
Oh, yeah.
COVID to the
Add,
mix.
right,
Mhm.
add COVID and then anything that life throws you. I just went through a very difficult divorce after 15 years and had to move my home. And I'm basically starting over. I'm 57 years old, but it's almost like I'm in my 20s.
It's the best. You know why divorce is so expensive?
Why?
Because it's worth it.
Yeah. And fortunately, mine was very swift, very quick, and all that. It needed to be.
This is
after
a cocktail conversation.
Well, that's what, Daryl, and for
Yeah.
our listeners, Daryl always tees up, and literally every single show that comes through the studio for all of our clients, Daryl says the same story when he has people in here. He'll say to the guests, it's as if you're out for a cup of coffee, and in this case, the four of you are just getting to know each other. We want it to be this conversation where, again, it's very candid, it's authentic, it's organic. Of course, I have our touch points that I know that you wanted to talk about, so I want to make sure that we're going to get there. But we want you to get to know each other, and we want to hear the real story behind all the fluff and what we're doing, right? So yes, we sometimes, depending on the time of day, Daryl will say, imagine you're out for a glass of wine, or imagine you're
Well,
clinking.
this group would be fine with a glass of
Yeah.
wine
even at this
Mimosas.
time.
Yeah.
at 11:30.
I haven't done any day drinking in a while.
Well, in Italy, you do it all day long
Yes.
with
Oh.
wine. Wine is a beverage. It's not an alcoholic
Right.
delight.
I,
They serve it at truck stops.
I love Italians. Let's go.
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
they really serve it at truck stops?
I
I
swear.
have a hard time with that.
Out of a spigot. They do.
And it's probably
It's
the
a
most,
true story.
and
I-
it's probably fabulous wine.
There's not bad wine in Italy.
Right.
Yeah,
I
really.
could not day drink to save my life, and even back in the day when that was the thing in 20s and high
Oh,
school.
I remember
Of
that.
course, not high school, college years. but
Remember 3 martini lunches?
No, I don't.
Sold a lot of business that way.
I could never
Amen.
do it. So I'll stick with my coffee and my tea. That's my vice. Debbie, I want to go back to you. And how did you? I know you and I talked about when we got to know each other via a Zoom one-on-one. But tell us a little bit about your career prior to Action Ignite Sales.
Well, I started life a lot of the same way that Rosaria did. I mean, I was in media. I sold radio. I sold television. I worked in multicultural radio and television, as a matter of fact, and that's what really gave me the passion for elevating the communities, or really understanding that it's not just about throwing money at a problem. It's about coming up with solutions and helping the people feel like they have value and that they have an opportunity. Because, it's very easy for people to say, well, we built a beautiful new school in that neighborhood, and why aren't people going to it? But, okay, that's a great question. Why aren't people going? Let's dive into that and let's elevate the people by figuring out how to make it comfortable for them to go to school and how to make them feel like going to school is going to help them get to something. And it's not just an exercise in futility. Because a lot of people feel hopeless. Why should I bother doing this? Well, you know why? Because you're worth something, and you should have aspirations, and you should feel like you can achieve those things. And I could talk about this topic all day because I'm very, very passionate about it. But after 5 years in Black radio and another 7 years in Spanish language television for Univision, not Entravision.
Mhm.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Well,
The big guy.
the big guy, right? Although anyway, I won't go off on this tangent, but anyway, so I cut my teeth in management. Can I go off on a tangent and tell a little
Yes.
story about that? So my very first job as a manager, and I have lots of these little pearls. I was even younger than Amber. I was like 30, whatever, and I was an internal candidate to receive this big promotion of being the local sales manager of the top billing station in the company. It was $40 million. It was 14 salespeople. It was a kind of a big deal. And so they put me through my paces. I was interviewed and interviewed and interviewed. And finally, it's right around Thanksgiving time. It's 6:00 at night. I'm in New York City. It's dark outside. It's me and the general manager and the director of sales. And we're going through the last round of interviews. And I'm just exhausted. I'm just like, oh, at this point, I don't even care. I just want to go home, right? So I'll never forget this as long as I live. The general manager of the station said to me, Debbie, what do you think is the most important thing that a sales manager can give to salespeople? And I was like, well, that's easy. You provide them with the tools and the support they need to get their job done. Good answer. She looks at me and she goes,
That's like a beauty contestant answer.
It is so much that.
It kind of is, right? But, after everything that we had been through, and I had already been in her office for 2 hours, and I was like, we covered.
Like waterboarding.
Yeah, it really was. That's
I've been in those
what it was.
meetings.
You know. And as a matter of fact, it was dark out, and she had one of those pendulum lights that was like hanging right over
like
the chair.
Ethan Frome, like
yeah.
Edward Allan Poe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I was in the interrogation room. It was horrible. So she looks at me and she goes, wrong. And I was like, wrong. Now I'm trying, I'm all of 30 years old and I'm like trying to dial back.
Get the right answers.
No.
Yeah. I'm trying to like really control myself. I'm like, oh, then, what is it? And she says to me, managing expectations. Now, while that is, certainly part of life in general, right? I mean, everything
It's managing
you do.
up, managing down.
Right. So I looked at her. Now we had been through this the whole time. Can I work blue for a second? I paused. I looked at her. I looked at the general manager, the general sales manager, and I said, "You got to be fucking kidding me."
And
Well,
what
it was New York, right?
It was New York.
Well, all right.
But it was just like, it was enough.
There's no shock value in New York.
No. And there was a pause. And then the two of them just fell out. They started laughing hysterically. It was almost like they were waiting to see how long
What
it
is
was
your
going to take
what
me
is
to
your
break.
reaction going to be?
Yeah. They were waiting for me to break, And I got the job. And I got the promotion.
Awesome.
I have a few
It was
stories
New
like
York.
that. It was New York,
Yeah.
and it was Hot 97. I mean,
Yeah.
I was in charge of
Perfect.
hip hop,
Yeah.
White lady in a suit,
Yep.
Oh,
Do you remember Suits?
Do you remember Suits?
I remember Suits.
I-
I have a closet full of really expensive suits.
Oh, I just,
they're really nice.
The real. I just sold a ton of them because everything from the 90s is back.
Yes.
So
I
just,
never sell anything.
Oh,
It's
no,
like art.
no.
I
I'm
could
telling you.
frame my wardrobe.
Right next to the Franklin
No,
planner.
I had to, Rosaria, I had to let go.
No, but I
had to
won't
let
throw it
go.
away though,
No,
unless it's worn out.
and it's not because you take good
I
care
have
of
so
your
many.
stuff.
No, I have so many clothes.
Right.
I could wear something every day of the year
and still have
and
more.
still have some that I haven't.
I know, right? No, I'm telling you, the real, they were excited. They sent somebody to my house. If you've never done this before, they send somebody to your house to take pictures of your stuff, pack it up, give you a receipt, and see you later. And that's all they do. And
I
then,
have to cry.
No.
It'd be very emotional.
No, you have to. Again, I was moving. Now, you're not moving. I had to make tough choices because actually moving this stuff would cost me more than like it cost to buy it. I mean,
Oh well, there's that.
like I couldn't, moving in the
It
middle
would
of the
be
pandemic.
like choosing between my children.
I kind of was making Sophie's choice a little bit. I mean, I sold a Gautier suit, the kind with the
No, say
yes.
it isn't so.
the iconic
How about Ralph Lauren? Did you sell any Ralph Lauren?
No, I did not sell. No, you know what? I did. I sold one Lauren Blue Label linen
Well,
jacket.
Blue Label.
yeah.
Not Black Label.
No,
Not Purple Label.
not no,
Not Collection.
No. And that was just it. It was, it was pret-a-porter. It was okay.
So as much as I'd love to take this journey further down the road, reminiscing. No, I love it. In fact, I know Daryl, again, our producer, is not on mic with us, but he and I speak through osmosis. Or not, is that the right word?
He's like, save
Yes.
me.
He's like,
save
tell
me,
her to
save
shut
me.
up. Tell her to shut
I'll
up.
tell you what he's saying because I'm saying the same thing. The two of you need your own show.
Agreed.
I mean, like, I'm like, okay, episode 1 right here. Amber and I will go have lunch.
Amber's like,
and cocktails.
what
cocktails,
have I
right?
gotten into?
Well, we think we're hilarious. We
Yeah,
definitely
this
amuse
is-
we
each
get
other.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a thing. We'll talk afterwards. But we do only have, time flies when we're having fun.
Fair
we
enough.
only have about 10 minutes left. So I want to make sure that each of you have a chance to let our listeners know how to stay in touch with you, where to connect. And then I know the three of you have had a prior conversation around some of the talking points, right? On a more, serious note, which I think we've hit on a lot of them, but
This is serious.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I think
Buy
this
or
is a
sell,
great
hold or
great
sell.
example of, again, how our Arizona business community conducts business. We get to know each other, and we're champions and cheerleaders for each other. We have a great sense of humor. We want to make those introductions. We want to see people win, right? And it's at all costs, right?
True.
So let's make sure that you have a chance to let us know where you are. I'm assuming that's each of you are on LinkedIn, but also what's your website? And then what's the best way for someone to begin working with you? So Rosaria, in your case, of course, somebody interested in NABO, I think we probably ought to go back a step and talk about what is NABO. And how do people, so if you do you mind starting for us? Tell us about NABO. We've already got to hear about Knoodle, but then also round it out by telling us where we can get in touch and what's the first step.
Done. NABO and Knoodle sound so much the same. NABO has many great things for an aspiring or a current entrepreneur or business owner of any size and category. They have mentoring programs. They have monthly programs every other month programs where they have educational speakers and lunch. They have networking events. They have a conference coming up the second Wednesday in March. I believe it's March 9th. That's going to have great speakers.
I've spoken there
It's
many times.
going to be a full day.
Yep.
I think is it the second annual?
Mhm, both times.
I think it's the second annual. No, third annual. It happened right before COVID,
Yeah,
3 years ago.
I was there.
Like the week of the
yeah.
shutdown.
In fact, you'll appreciate
Oh my
this if I can
goodness.
interject. I was a speaker on one of the topics that I talk a lot about, the art of the connected conversation, and we had just kind of all been joking about toilet paper those first couple of weeks. So I
didn't even believe
So
it was
I
out.
brought in rolls of toilet paper to be cheeky and funny, and within like 3 or 4 weeks, I was, and it played well, and it was all fine. It was, again, I was really talking about how important it is to have, internal conversations with yourself that are healthy in order to have conversations with others that are healthy. But I kind of look back those 4 weeks later, like, oh God, I probably should
Barely
be making
made
fun
it.
of it because COVID was so serious, and we didn't
know.
we didn't know. But yes, I got to speak that time, and then last year too.
Last year we did
were-
a semi
Yep.
in person. We allowed people to gather in small groups and watch it, but the majority of the program was actually digital.
Yep.
It was done through Zoom
Yep.
at the time. And glad we're not doing that again. Because you know what? There's a lot of Zoom fatigue. And I
Yes.
think the fact that NABO's returned to in-person events, I think I'm extremely proud of that as president of getting that done.
Registration still open for this particular event?
Yes. Okay. So registration is open. We're going to be announcing speakers and the program and the agenda and all the cool stuff next week.
Good.
And so it's about ready to go on full
Yay.
rocket launch, but it's fun. And it also includes Tucson. It includes people from all over the state.
Yep.
So the nice thing is you'll be, whoever comes, whether they're aspiring to be in business or in business, will not only get great educational advice and help and assistance, but they'll also have the ability to rub shoulders with business people in every walk of life, every category of business, every age group, and every diverse thing you can think of.
So good.
So-
Two shout outs real quick. Angela Garman was the president at the time,
Mhm.
and she's the one, this was her brainchild, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and she's still heavily involved, and
Well,
she's on the
Give
committee.
her a big hug for me.
I
Tell her I said
will.
hello. We actually broadcast live that particular year, the first year. We did a live broadcast, and I got to do my little
Awesome.
breakout.
And Jean Breeze is also.
And then Jean
Yep.
followed in her footsteps.
They're the
and she
ones on the
kept it.
committee.
And she kept it running.
Yep.
And so I love that you're following in their footsteps and keeping that alive. Because as you mentioned, it's not just NABO Greater Phoenix.
Yep.
It involves the whole state.
does.
And what is the website then for NABO Arizona?
NABOPhoenix.org.
Okay, perfect. Great. And can you come to a meeting and can you come to an event and give it a try as a non-member?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you can come to any of our events. There's a slightly higher price of like $4
Sure.
or $5 higher, but we love to see new people.
Come try it.
We do. We have a happy hour the second Wednesday in February. I believe that's next week.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
is.
It would be.
And so lots of
At-
fun. It's at Fogo de Chao.
Mhm.
and it'll start at 4:30 to 6:30 or till we're done.
Right.
Sometimes we could head to the bar. I just want to leave that open. Some
I'm
conversations
noticing a
aren't
theme
finished.
here.
Right. We really needed to have
Work
booked you
hard,
ladies
work-
for 3:00.
Work,
and then,
work hard, play hard.
That's right.
That's the theme.
and Knoodle with a K, Knoodle.com.
.com.
You work with many different size businesses.
Love it. Yes.
And what is the best way for someone to get in touch and see if they're a good fit?
Consult our website. I'll be the one following up on everything that happens because I'm business development now as well as CEO.
Oh, gosh.
With Debbie's help, it'll all go well.
Good.
Love
Yes.
it. Love
Very
it.
good. Thank you so much for
My
being with
pleasure.
us. Tell us, how do we stay in touch with you, and where do we find your little division as well as Chicano por la Causa?
Sure. Well, we got a couple ways to contact us. To make it easy, if you're a woman looking for any kind of support, go to the Women's Business Center. You can go in person. We're at 10th Street and Buckeye in Phoenix. You can check
Great
us out
location
on,
for what you're doing.
yeah, we have a beautiful second floor space that overlooks downtown Phoenix.
Beautiful.
It's open concept. Really, there's a couch in the front. We really want people to come in, plop down, sit down and have a conversation one-to-one. And that's basically everything we do is one-to-one.
Love
We
it.
look at the whole person, like you mentioned earlier, and business ownership is hard. It can be lonely. It's scary. And sometimes you just need somebody that talks to you like a friend as opposed to, an advisor or someone sitting across a desk telling you what to do. So you
Mhm.
could stop by. Our website is phoenixwbc.org, I believe. And then anybody can email me. My email address is amber.cordoba, and that's with a B, not a V, at cplc.org. I'm sure my information will be listed
Yes.
somewhere.
We'll include
Connect
it.
with me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to talk to anybody and help navigate what's available. Any business that's looking for any kind of education, one-on-one support, really at any stage, whoever you are, if you need support, reach out to us. We'll make it easy to interact and get you on the road or get you the right resources to get you where you want to go.
You had said something earlier at one point in our conversation around the importance of networking, right? And meeting with people. You also mentioned structures and systems. There was a time, I feel like, maybe even not too far before we hit this COVID pandemic, where I had heard from business owners, not necessarily folks in here, but just out networking, getting to know people. No one can help me. I don't have the resources I need. I don't know where to go. And I really don't believe that to be true. Organizations like yours, Local First Arizona, NABO, what's the other one? SCORE. I mean,
There's
the
so much
list,
out
the
there.
Tempe
So
Chamber,
many.
any of the GPEC. I mean,
SBDC.
oh my
yeah.
gosh, it's endless. And we have this thing called a phone and this thing called Google. And a lot of this information is available free of charge, right? I mean, how many videos can you watch on
Almost all of
anything?
it,
So,
yeah.
so for our listeners who are inspired today, which we hope we are, and maybe smiling and laughing and clinking your tequila, your shot glass with us as we're sharing today, reach out to one of us and let's help you move in the right direction and just find your tribe, find your network, because there's plenty of resources out there. And again, I really do believe Arizona is one of the most friendly states to succeed. There's no reason why we can't succeed in a business when you have the right team, the right people on the bus in the right seats, to again borrow from EOS, in addition to cheerleaders and champions. And they're not always necessarily the family members and the people in your neighborhood. While they love you and they want to help you succeed, they don't always have the right answers.
Right.
So reach beyond your sphere and let us become part of that with you. Debbie, if you would let people know how to stay in touch with you and who's the best client for you and what does that look like to
I'm
begin
her
that
best client.
conversation?
Yeah, Rosaria is my best
Yeah.
client. Yeah, actually. Okay. Small to medium-sized businesses, say under $50 million.
Oh, we're good.
Um,
We're good.
Yeah.
Sadly.
For now.
For now. Give us 5 years. Let's see. People who are frustrated because they cannot grow their business and there's nobody internally who can fix it and they don't know why.
Debbie.
Mm.
Debbie's the answer to my prayers. Let me just say, we have everything in the right place except for a sales team or a sales process. We have zero sales process.
And she's helping you design that.
Oh my God. So this is what it's for. You don't really want to spend six-figure salary and bringing someone in who will then leave with all the clients they brought.
Mm.
this fills an incredible void for a lot of smaller to medium-sized businesses that don't know really how to get away from doing the one-on-one approach to sales.
Right.
And do something bigger. And she brings systems and expertise. I highly recommend her.
See that you both got to give commercials for each other. It's why we have you invite additional
mean it,
guests.
though.
Yeah, no, of course.
I couldn't have said it better.
I'm very candid.
Or bitchy.
Yep.
I think candid. I vote for candid.
I prefer to think of it as honest.
It's
Yes.
New York, my old New York
Yeah,
background.
exactly. You
right?
are so
Right?
like it's in
Yeah,
your DNA. I mean, I don't know what else.
Again,
to say
we've
about
got this show. Don't you think? You and I are going to endorse this show.
Oh, yeah. I'm
And then
totally
you and I need to
endorsing
come
it.
up with our own shtick, and we'll
Okay.
have our own show.
You guys,
We'll
you
talk
guys are
about
the nice
financial
girls.
literacy,
That's
what
right.
everybody wants to know about,
And
right?
actually, I'll be your greatest case study. I'm literally starting over as if I'm in my 20s, literally, which is a very sad situation
perfect,
to
though.
describe, but it is perfect. And I am hell-bent and determined to leave a legacy for my kids. But I'm coming out, I'm rising out of the ashes. I am the Phoenix in Phoenix.
Mm.
It's going to be,
Seriously.
the divorce is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been a year, the love of my life, and there was addiction issue and gambling and we lost everything.
I'm sorry.
So I am starting over, and I am not one who has been taught to be financially literate, and that's not to blame my dad. My dad is the one who raised us. For whatever reason, I was one of those women who thought in both of my marriages, I'm going to let him take care of it.
Well, that's common.
I know.
It's so
and it's
common.
also devastatingly embarrassing because I'm fairly smart when it comes to business and just people and that sort of thing. But there's this blind spot, right? That's such an intimate part of my life. But I'm very candid, possibly bitchy as well. Not possibly. I am.
You're tough. You're tougher
I'm a
than you
tough
think.
mutta. I'm
Yeah.
a tough mutta. But
Bitchy is the
let's-
wrong word.
financial
What's the
literacy
right
is
word?
everything. Everything. And I love that this has been your career throughout. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk.
I would love
to
that.
support you.
Thank you. And Debbie, so LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, you know what? I'm just going to say that LinkedIn is the best way to find me.
Perfect.
DEBE, black, like the color.
Not how we were pronouncing it earlier. We were joking.
Oh, Deeb. I get Deeb. You know what is funny is that
DB.
sometimes people actually
DB.
have trouble spelling black. I'm like, really? DEBE, black, like the color. Like, I can't even tell you how many times people, like, you know, okay.
Only because Debbie is DEBE. It's so unique. So they're bargaining for it. Black's got to be
She's like
different too.
Madonna.
Yeah.
She just needs to go by Debbie, DEBE.
Right. It's a 4-letter word. People like those.
That's
You know,
right.
that's-
In New York, they
New
just
York,
love it.
It's all of my favorite words.
And then your website as well.
You know what? Forget about my website.
Okay.
Just go to LinkedIn, click on the contact information. It's all
You got it.
there.
Or
Debbie Black.
Google Debbie Black.
Or Google Debbie. No, don't do that.
Oh, sorry.
Don't do whatever
What's on
you
your
do.
Google?
I'm going to go looking for the guy standing next to her with the guns. I want to see what this boyfriend is all about.
She's
Listen,
met my
yeah,
husband.
Oh, good. I'm getting.
Yes.
I get to have a photo in a bit. It's been a pleasure to get to know all three of you. Thank you so much for trusting your success stories with us and giving us a chance to highlight you today. And again, Debbie, thank you for not only trusting us with the story, but the opportunity to elevate your exposure and opportunity to get to know these women as well. You've been listening to Phoenix Business Radio, broadcasting from Max 6 Entrepreneur Center right here in Tempe, Arizona. Some media leans left, some lean right, and we lean business. Until next time, I'm Karen Nowicki. Thanks for listening.